I went Christmas shopping yesterday. I said, I was desperate to go to the loo. I was coming out the toilet. There was a man coming in. I said, excuse me, this is for ladies. He said, so's this.
Don't think about it.
And when you go, of course, I'm a country girl, and I was brought up in a little village, and I'm going back before. A lot of you won't know this, but there was no such thing as flush toilets. None, no soft paper. You don't know you were born, you youngsters. The toilet was out the backyard, in a little shed. Bucket with a seat over the top. Anyway, Father decided to buy this cottage. Mother fell in love with it. He went to the owner, he said, there's only one complaint I got to make about that toilet out the back, sir. The owner said, what's that, sir? Well, Father said, there's no lock on that toilet door. Owner looked at me and he said, I wouldn't worry too much about that, sir, if I was you. To tell you the truth, I've lived there myself 40 years, and I've never had a bucket of shit pinched yet. You go down you go in the pub. It's amazing what you hear in the pub. I sat there, you get entertained in there, you know. I sat there one night, I heard this bloke go up to this other bloke. He said, hey, George, what you want, you pillock, he said, your son broke my daughter's virginity last night. Go, he said, he's a clumsy bugger, he broke my tractor last week. The little boy, he come home one day and he saw his mother and father having sex. He said, what are you doing, Dad? He said, we're trying to make a brother or sister for you. He said, why don't you do it like the dogs in the park, he said, because I'd rather have a puppy. The bloke there, he went for a walk one night, and he went in the park, and as he was coming out, he heard a little voice in the bushes saying, sex, £10. Sex, £10. He thought, oh, £10, yeah, I'll have some of that. He jumped in the edge. He hadn't got in there long, the policeman come along. He said, aye, what's going on here? The bloke said, it's all right, sir. He said, it's me wife, it's only me wife. Oh, said the policeman, well, he said, I'm sorry, I didn't realise that. The bloke said, no, neither did I till you shone your torch. I tell you, the kids in school, they said there, the things they had to do, they had a geography lesson, and they was asked, how far is Africa away? One said, 200 miles. Oh, no. Farther than that, but thank you for answering. Another little boy said, it's 500 miles, miss. No, it's farther than that. Johnny said, I know it's not far, miss. Why do you say that, Johnny? Because he said, that little African boy that sits behind me goes home to dinner every day. They had to draw a picture depicting panic. So one little boy, he drew an aircraft. Everybody jumping out in the parachutes. Teacher said, that's very good, that's panic. Another little boy, he drew a ship on fire. They're all getting in the lifeboats, he said. That's very good. Johnny, he'd just drawn a cross on a piece of paper. Teacher said, what's that? He said, that's panic, miss. No, she said, that's not panic. He said, yes, miss. He said, back home in our kitchen, we got a calendar, and every month my sister puts a cross on there, and there's not one on there this month, and you should see the bloody panic in our house. Then we had some Irish neighbours come to live next door to us, and one night Paddy Murphy was going home, and he saw a man fall off a bridge. He jumped in and saved him. Next morning, a tap on the door. Policeman there. Is it true, Paddy Murphy, that last night you saved a man from drowning? Yes, officer, I did, but I don't want any medals. I haven't come to give you any medals, Paddy. I come to tell you you wasted your time, because the man's hung himself. Paddy says, no, I put him up there to dry. Sunday morning in church, the father override, he said, I want everyone who had sex before marriage to stand up. Nobody stood up. So he said it again. Slowly, Paddy Murphy stood up. He said, are you telling me, Paddy Murphy, that you had sex before marriage? Paddy says, no, Father, I didn't. But I didn't like to see you standing up on your own. Paddy took his mate Murphy for a ride on his motorbike. He's doing 150 miles an hour. And Murphy said, Paddy, will you slow down, Paddy? He said, sure. He said, the wind's cutting my chest. Terrible. Okay. Paddy says, get up. Put your overcoat on round the other way. So button it up, back to front. Gets back on the bike. Off they go again. Now he's doing 200 miles an hour. He suddenly realised that Murphy's not on the back of the bike. Oh, bejesus, he says. He looks round. He's laying in the road, and there's 3 farmers stood over him. He goes back, he says, oh, bejesus, he said, oh, Murphy, he said to the farmers, is he all right? Well, they said, he was breathing till we turned his neck round the right way. The grandmother had her granddaughter down for the weekend, and she's getting ready to go out. So she comes down the stairs, no bra on, see-through blouse. Her grandmother said, you can't go out like that. You've got no bra on. See-through blouse. It's all right now, and she said, it's the in thing. It's cool to show your rosebuds. Off she went. Next morning, she comes down the stairs. Gran sat in a chair, topless. Dan, what you doing? My friend will be here in a minute. She said, you can't... Well, she said, last night, you said it was a in thing. She said, if it's all right for you to show your rosebuds, it's all right for me to show me hanging basket. So when the doctor, he said, can you lower my sex drive? Doctor looked at him, he said, lower your sex drive? He said, how old are you? 82. 82, you want your sex drive lowered? He said, it's all in your mind. I know, he said, I want it lowered. This girl asked his bloke for a dance, took him to dance. He said, I can't dance. Can't dance? Sure, you can dance. No, I can't. He said, I can't. She said, well, I'll give you a tip now. This is a good tip. She said, you do what I tell you. She said, go 10p, 20p, 50p a pound. 10p, 20p, 50p a pound. So he did. They had a lovely evening, dancing all evening, very nice. She took her home. He said, took her inside, you going to make love to me? He said, I know, I'd never done it before. I think he was a liar, but he did. He said, I haven't done it before. Well, she said, you did all right with the dancing, didn't you? Yes, he said, I did. Well, she said, do that. So he said, do that. So he said, 10p, 20p, 50p a pound. 10p, 20p, 50p a pound. 10p. He said, bugger this. He said, 180, 180. This girl, she wanted a bigger bust, right? The doctor said, only thing I can suggest, he said, is that you practice doing this. I must improve my bust. It's not doing much for me, but well, she did. She was on the top, but everywhere she went, she would do this. And she went up the bus, and up the top of the stairs, and the conductor come up, and he said, he looked at her, he said, I know where you've been. He said, you've been to see Dr. Clark, haven't you? Yes, she said, I have. How do you know that? He went, hickory dickory dock.